You're always so bubbly whenever you talk to her.
And hello again to Cause and Effect. Today I want to talk about another facet of the multifaceted diamond that you get when you become a father with a girl that goes on welfare and leaves you. This is a balance sheet of, principal and interest. How much total you owe in principal, and then how much interest you owe in arrears. And to talk about this, one must understand how the child support system and the payment structure works. And from my experience, and the truth of the matter is, let's say your ex-wife or your ex-girlfriend breaks up with you, obviously ex, and she files for food stamps, and she files for cash aid, and she files for Medicare. That's the welfare entitlement program. And she gets all three of them, which is, a good thing because you want your children to be taken care of, especially if you're about to become a deadbeat father. So, I don't say that as a joke, I say it earnestly. So, understanding the payment structure and how much she gets versus how much is paid in by the welfare system is critical to every father and non-custodial parent. You don't have to be just a father to be watching this video. It happens to a lot of women, and we're all in the same boat. The idea of these videos is to explain tools and provide solutions, not just have bitch sessions about how bad my life has become because of I'm under the oppressive thumb of the coercive state. It's about providing solutions. So it's not just a rah, 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 man, you got to listen to this crap over and over. This guy's just a whiner. This video is going to explain, and in my case, on a child that was 22 years old now, that I never met, never got to see, never got a DNA sample on, this is what I owe right now. If I could get it into focus. Principal is $15,075.10. Now the interest is $12,801.82. That seems like an awful lot of money when you first look at it. But fathers, keep in mind there's hope. There's hope, and I'll tell you why. Because the principal at $15,075, let's say I come into some money, or I save some money over a couple years at work, and I owe her $15,000, and she's in a bad spot. I could make a proposal together, put together a contract, a written contract that she accepts and writes off. She'll go down to the DA's office, and she'll say, you know what, Daniel Demisio just wrote me a check for $7,000 because I need this money. Not only that, I'm writing this signature on this contract saying that I'm satisfied with that debt. Now that's the bifurcation between the entire payment structure. So you have the principal and the interest, and the interest is collected by the government or the state. The district attorney's office, IRS has been involved in it, wage and garnishment, bank accounts, everything is tied in with your social security number, is tied into this welfare that was paid to your ex-wife or to your ex-husband, whatever may be the case, or boyfriend, girlfriend. So, the good news about that principal now that she signed off on, now that's gone. I can just take a pen and I can scratch that off. Shh. Now, the interest at that point, the DA and the great state of California, they've actually provided a little bit of incentive to us fathers, us deadbeats. And they tell us that since you paid off your principal to your ex-wife, then you can negotiate pennies on the dollar on your interest. My interest is $12,801.82. That means if it's 5 cents on the dollar, well, if I had a calculator, I could just roughly do this. Imagine $10,000. It's like $600, basically. And or even $1,000 would be better if they said, look, give us $1,000, we'll wipe off the 12 G's. The state does have that program. So this is hope, and this is a solution. Should provide, the idea of this video is to provide white light at all the end of our tunnels, because it gets pretty dark and starts closing in. These walls start closing in with all these coercive tools that they have, and agencies and collection methods and so forth. So, but I do want to talk a little bit more about this principle. And the reason I want to talk about that principle right there is because of this. That principle used to be about $10,000. Now that was about 4 years ago, and I had remarried, and had a happy little family, had some kids on the way, had a good job, and I hired an attorney. My wife and I hired an attorney, now ex, and we offered my ex-wife, Brenda, who is now Brenda Hatfield, we offered her $10,000 through the attorneys Glue and Kim in Santa Ana, downtown Santa Ana, and they were my attorneys at the time, and Gina Kim represented me. Now, in addition to the money I had to pay them, I had to pay for the private investigator, and that was Joseph Travers, head of security for Calvary Chapel churches in Southern California, and I imagine around the United States. But anyway, this cost me a little pretty penny. I believe it was about $3,500. Now, the private investigator presented Brenda, my ex-wife, with this contract, and Brenda's response to the contract was this. She called my wife's phone at the time and said, I want nothing to do with Daniel, and my son Joshua wants nothing to do with him either. And she hung up the phone, and that was the end of it. So, here's the bad news. If you try to pay the principal and you have the money, and you try to negotiate, which I was offering her a full amount at the time, and she doesn't accept it, then your only other alternative is you got to suck up the full amount, and you got to pay the DA. You cut the check to the district attorney, and the DA makes sure that she gets it. So it's important for everybody to understand that if we're not paying the child support as fathers, another problem in the system is a friend of mine came to me just the other day and said, got in an argument with this old lady up north, saying, well, she's saying, dude, I'm hardly getting any money from welfare. You don't understand. But from the guy's point of view, here we're getting nailed with all this interest. I mean, the principal's only $15,000. Interest is $13,000. Round up, give or take less than $200. That's scary. And when to hear from another, your significant other, baby's mama, that she's not getting any money and they're garnishing half my wage, or I'm giving my state and federal tax returns, it's unbelievable. But then later as fathers we learn that, wow, the amount that we would have sent in if I had paid the child support, if I hadn't been disabled, or if I hadn't been in poor economy, or a motorcycle accident, or whatever the example may be, that she would have got more money, and there would have been. So it's a real disruptive, dysfunctional, coercive tool that not only hurts us fathers and non-custodial parents, but it shatters the bond between the children and the parents. The child is the end user here. It's the one that really loses by what the state deems best for your children. They're fatherless, or have to adopt a new father. It's traumatic. The parental imprinting is lost. The love is lost. The bonding. There are moments that I'll never get back as a result of some of the actions that the state's actions and their accountability in this. So they don't, just because they deem what's best for us legally does not mean it is what's best. So I hope that helps, guys. I hope that provides a little bit of help and leverage for you. Good luck. I'll talk to you next time.